When Sarah Ferguson signed the lease on that £18,000 per month Swiss chalet in 2014, she told everyone it was an investment, a smart move. A retreat for her growing business empire, but behind those snow-covered walls, a different story was unfolding. One of mounting debt, desperate schemes, and financial decisions that would eventually leave her with nowhere to go. By 2020, the chalet's owner filed a lawsuit. Sarah owed over £6.7 million. The property she claimed to own. She was just renting it. And she had stopped paying. According to royal finance expert David McClure, this was not Sarah's first brush with financial disaster. It was part of a decades-long pattern. The chalet scandal broke publicly in January 2020. Court documents revealed Sarah and Andrew had taken out a loan from the seller, Isabel de Rouva, to help with the purchase. They never repaid. De Rouva's lawyers described the situation as highly unusual. The Duchess had been living in luxury while defaulting on millions. But here's where it gets darker. Just months before the lawsuit became public, Sarah was photographed attending charity galas, wearing designer gowns, and promoting her latest book tour across America. She appeared wealthy, successful, untouchable. Royal author Lady Colin Campbell later stated that Sarah had been living a lie for years, using her royal connections to maintain an illusion of prosperity while drowning in debt. And the chalet was just the beginning. In the 1990s, following her divorce from Andrew, Sarah's financial troubles first surfaced. She reportedly owed more than £4 million to various creditors, banks, designers, travel companies, all chasing payment. She was forced to do what many royals would never consider. She went to work, book deals, speaking tours, Weight Watchers endorsements. Anything to keep the bailiffs away. One former aide, speaking anonymously to the Daily Mail, said Sarah was obsessed with maintaining appearances even when she couldn't afford groceries for her daughters. That obsession never went away. In 2010, Sarah was caught in a sting operation. A reporter posing as a businessman recorded her offering access to Andrew in exchange for £500,000. She called it a lapse in judgment. Others called it desperation, and still, the spending continued. Reports emerged of shopping sprees in New York, private jets to Dubai, lavish birthday parties for her daughters at exclusive venues. Where was the money coming from? According to financial journalist Alison Boshoff, Sarah relied on a rotating cast of wealthy benefactors. Men who paid her bills, funded her lifestyle, and expected nothing in return, or so she claimed. But there was always a price. Stay with us, because what we're about to reveal exposes the true cost of Sarah's financial survival, and the people who paid it. By 2011, Sarah Ferguson's debts had become unsustainable. The £4 million from the 90s had ballooned. New loans, new scandals, new creditors, and then, a mysterious benefactor appeared. His name was rarely mentioned in public. But according to multiple sources, including royal biographer Andrew Morton, this man quietly settled millions of pounds of Sarah's debts. He was not a family member, not a close friend, just someone with deep pockets and unclear motives. Morton described the arrangement as troubling, noting that Sarah never publicly disclosed who had helped her or why. Within months, the chalet lawsuit was settled. The £6.7 million debt, paid in full. By someone, when journalists pressed Sarah's representatives for details, they refused to comment. Palace insiders, however, were talking. One former courtier told The Times that Andrew had been frantically calling contacts to secure the funds. Another said the Queen herself had intervened, insisting the matter be resolved before it damaged the monarchy further. But the official line remained the same. Sarah's finances were private. The truth, though, was leaking out. In 2019, reports surfaced that Sarah had been involved in a high-risk Bitcoin investment scheme. She had poured money, some of it allegedly borrowed, into a venture that promised massive returns. It collapsed. According to financial records reviewed by the Sunday Times, Sarah lost over £200,000. Money she did not have, and yet, she continued living as if nothing had changed. A friend told Vanity Fair that Sarah was incapable of living within her means. She would buy designer handbags one week and beg for loans the next. This pattern extended to her relationship with Andrew. Even after their divorce in 1996, Sarah remained financially dependent on him. He covered her rent, her travel, her staff salaries. Royal author Nigel Cawthon wrote that Andrew enabled her worst habits, providing just enough support to keep her afloat, but never forcing her to face reality, and Sarah, for her part, remained loyal. When Andrew's Epstein connections became public, Sarah stood by him. She appeared on television defending his character. She insisted he was innocent. Some saw this as love. Others saw calculation. Royal correspondent Richard Kay suggested that Sarah knew her financial survival depended on Andrew's goodwill. If she abandoned him, the money would stop. And she was right to worry. By 2024, King Charles had ordered both Andrew and Sarah to vacate Royal Lodge. The 30-room mansion they had shared for over a decade, Andrew was being moved to Frogmore Cottage. Sarah, she was on her own. According to sources close to the palace, Charles had made it clear Sarah was not his responsibility. One alleged insider told The Telegraph that Charles viewed Sarah as a constant embarrassment and wanted her out of the royal orbit entirely. But Sarah had nowhere to go. Her debts had returned. Her income streams were drying up. And this time, there was no mysterious benefactor waiting in the wings. Don't look away now, because the final chapter of Sarah's financial collapse is about to be revealed, and it involves decisions that will shock even those who thought they knew her story. In September 2024, Sarah Ferguson appeared on Good Morning Britain. She smiled, laughed, promoted her latest children's book, but behind the cheerful facade, her world was crumbling. Royal sources confirmed that Sarah had been quietly negotiating with American broadcasters for a tell-all interview. Networks were interested. The price? Reportedly upwards of £3 million. The palace was horrified. According to royal correspondent Robert Jobson, senior aides warned Sarah that any paid interview would result in her permanent exile from royal events. No more Sandringham Christmases. No more Balmoral summers. She would become, in effect, a non-person within the royal family. But Sarah was running out of options. Her spokesman, James Henderson, denied that any interview had been finalized. But sources at two major U.S. networks confirmed they had been approached. One producer, speaking anonymously, said Sarah's team was shopping around for the highest bidder. They wanted a primetime special, full creative control, and a guarantee of sympathetic framing. The networks were hesitant. Sarah's previous interviews had been complicated. In 2021, she appeared on an Italian talk show where she broke down in tears, claiming she had been abandoned by the royal family. The palace issued no comment. But privately, aides were furious. According to Lady Colin Campbell, Sarah had violated an unspoken rule. You do not weaponize your emotions against the institution, and yet, here she was, preparing to do it again. By early 2025, reports emerged that Sarah had purchased a seafront property in Portugal. A £3.6 million villa with ocean views and private security. How did she afford it? Nobody knew for certain. But speculation was rampant. Some suggested she had finally secured a major book deal. Others pointed to her continued connection with wealthy international contacts. And then there was the darker theory. royal journalist Tom Bauer hinted that Sarah's financial rescue had come from sources with questionable reputations. He stopped short of naming names, but the implication was clear. Sarah had made deals. Deals that might come back to haunt her. Meanwhile, her relationship with Andrew remained bizarrely intact. Despite living separately, they were photographed together regularly. Walking dogs. Attending church. Smiling for cameras. To the public, it looked like friendship. But insiders described something more troubling. One former palace staffer told the Mail on Sunday that Sarah and Andrew had created their own reality, one where scandal didn't exist and consequences didn't apply. They were, in many ways, perfect for each other. Both had been accused of financial impropriety. Both had connections to controversial figures. Both had been cast out by the institution they once represented, and both refused to disappear quietly. In March 2025, Sarah announced a new business venture, a luxury lifestyle brand targeting wealthy Americans. The products overpriced. The branding confusing. Early reviews were brutal. Critics called it desperate and tone-deaf. But Sarah pressed forward, appearing in promotional videos and giving interviews where she insisted the brand represented a new chapter. Royal commentator Angela Levin was blunt: "This is not a new chapter. This is the same old pattern. Spending money she doesn't have. Making promises she can't keep. And hoping someone will bail her out. And that's the real story here, not the mansions, or the affairs, or the scandals. It's the pattern: decades of financial chaos. Decades of poor decisions. Decades of enabling and excuses. Sarah Ferguson has lived her entire adult life on the edge of ruin. And every time she has fallen, someone has caught her. But now, the people willing to catch her are disappearing. Andrew is powerless. The palace has turned away. And the public? They have stopped caring. So when you look back at the Steve Wyatt photos, the toe-sucking scandal, the Epstein email, they all tell the same story. A woman who believed the rules did not apply to her. Who thought her royal connection would always protect her. But reality has finally arrived, and this time, there is no escape. If this story shocked you, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell for more explosive revelations.